I mean, it's oversubscribed. Your wife was telling me, like,
oh, this event,
like,
yeah.
like feels so sad, like she's having to turn people away. You guys are oversubscribed for time in the day and running the event currently. Like, that's really amazing.
It's
like, that's a good problem to have.
It's a good problem,
but like a bitter pill for them. She's like, it sucks because she knows, like, there's certain kids that just didn't register on time, and you know, whether it's, you know, it's just out of your guys' control as well.
Yeah, it's really tough. And I'll tell you, I said, I always wanted to like sell it out. It'd be great. You're on easy street, like when you actually hit max capacity with an event. And we went through like a really big dip, you know, like we could talk about that, like the history of mountain bike. We're a young sport, but like the history of mountain bike racing and the boom in the late 90s, early 2000s, to the dip, to the dark period of like the early teens in the US. And now it's like the business is strong, and it's great that not the business, but like the sport is strong, and it's great. Like this bubble of kids that's coming up is wild, how many there are and how good they are. And I never thought I'd say this, but like, man, this has been the biggest blessing and a curse, having these numbers at this event. You know, like, I mean, just, I guess, so whoever's listening to this can understand, like, we have a cap on the US Open, and we hit that cap weeks ago, and the cap is set for amateurs so that we can continue to get the pros in. So we have basically 500 people is like the most you can responsibly run down the hill in a day with the format we have.
Yes.
You could lower the quality of like the big pro race, but like for the prize money and the investment and the partners, like we have to maintain the sanctity of like that moment. Like when you see finals, like a lot goes into that. And 500, like that's it. So we put a cap of 350, and we try to be super transparent with everything we do. Like it's kind of like a little bit of our shtick too. Like people can find me, you can talk to me, I'll answer questions, and we don't really hide much. And the cap of 350 was hit in the amateurs, which leaves us about 150 to work with on the open class side. And then we always have a few that we need to like save space for. Like for instance, like we work with David Lieb on this free rider class. We got like Nikolai Rogatkin and David Lieb and Christian Earhart. I can't even remember who all's in it this year. I don't even know if I've seen the full list. Like something they just
I haven't
handled.
even looked at that either. Good
Yeah,
point.
I don't think most people know, but it was David and Nikolai, and then they blew it up into a full class this year, so it's going to be cool. But with that, we hit that 500 really quick, and we have a massive open class, the biggest open class we've had since we brought it back. We have almost 120 pro men in it, 40 some odd pro women. So like we even exceeded the 150 we left for us there, and everybody's like, "Well, just add me," and it's like, "Whoa, I want to, I really do."
Yeah.
But we only have so much daylight, and we have to be safe too. Like safety's huge for us. We put so much effort into making sure we're safe, and so like it just gets hard, like to run a safe race in our format, which we have our own formula. Like we have our own start list. You'll see, I could walk you through the run a show, and like Jess has really developed this, where we have like breaks for reruns, scheduled times for like announcers to do this and that. Like we've really developed a run a show that's like, we try to use the same one every event, and it works well. And we just can't exceed it. That's it, you know. And
if
then
you added another day, that adds like pretty exponential costs, right? Like, some people are like, "Oh, can't we race another day?" But then you got to like get here earlier.
It's not.
It's a big cost to add another day of practice, and then like have some racing on this day, and like it's not that simple.
It's not that simple, like, and so we are going to do that. Like we have to do that. But we couldn't just do it once we were locked and loaded for this year.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Like this is unprecedented. We've never been in this situation. Now I know that like the pro downhill series leading into the US Open, it's like we're marketing all year long for the US Open. So like in hindsight, it's easy to say like, oh, we should have seen this coming. But the energy like coming out of the Pro Downhill Series into the U.S. Open is nuts. Like we've never had this where like 117, 18-year-old kids want to get in, 115, 16-year-old kids want to get in. Like that's just hasn't happened.
Where are these kids coming from? That's so cool. It's
From
amazing.
everywhere in the United States to Canada to New Zealand to the UK to Germany, South America. Like it is insane how international the field is for this event now.
Yeah.
In the amateur side too, it's crazy. And so what my wife was referring to, what Jamie was referring to, is just like, it's like heartbreaking to tell all these people no. And then I'm like when you asked me, oh, is it on your Instagram? And I'm like, I can't even go on my Instagram because like I'm just getting blown up. Like I've, between text messages, DMs, and emails, hundreds of messages from people. And it's like, I just can't deal with it. Like I can't get to each person. I can't do it. And so that's the part that's like, it's bittersweet. It's like, it's not quite what we want. But looking ahead, we ultimately want to go to that 2-day event for sure. And, you know, like a definitive difference between the way we do things and say a World Cup is similar to like a motocross style. And I reference this all the time. Like we really copy a lot from that sport just because I'm a fan of it, but it works. We want to continue to maintain the ability to have really high level pro racing and amateur racing together. And so putting them in the same venue on the same weekend, but a day apart, is the ultimate answer of where we'll get. So let's just say, I don't know who would go first, Saturday versus Sunday, but like, I think we would probably try to do pros on Saturday. So it would be like the pros typically they're not worried about missing work. So like they can be there for a Wednesday track walk, Thursday practice, Friday qualifying, Saturday race, and then the AMs just start everything a day later. You know, there's opportunity to do it, but you got a contract with a mountain, you have plans, you have only so much financing, and people who have committed to your race early, committed to one product, you can't just go and tell them like, oh, by the way, now you got to be here a day earlier because a whole bunch of other people want to race too. So we had to stick to what our original plan was.